Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to the Growing Band Director podcast. My name is Kyle Smith, and joining me is my friend and colleague Jeff Smith. Our mission is to share practical advice and explore topics that will help every band director, no matter your experience level, as well as music education students who are working to join us in the coming years. Together, we will discuss many aspects of a well-rounded band program, but most importantly, we will discuss concepts that help us all improve our own programs each and every day. Always remember the famous quote by Ray Kroc, "When you're green, you're growing, and when you're right, you rot." Let's get started. Welcome back, everybody. I have the distinct pleasure of sharing a great jazz clinic with you. One of my dear friends is named Mike Sakash. He teaches up here in Maine. He's originally from the Pittsburgh area. He is somebody who I look up to, who I consider a master teacher, and as is pretty typical for teachers like this, he is very humble. He teaches here in Maine at Freiburg Academy, and he's one of these teachers I've mentioned in past podcasts who I feel like you could put him in front of any group of kids in any style of music, vocal, instrumental. I know he says he's not a vocal teacher, but, jazz, classical, concert band, whatever, and he can just make it happen. He's a great way of relating to kids. He's very self-effacing, and he's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful teacher. I had the pleasure of being at one of our district jazz bands to do one of the honor bands, and Mike was there as one of the visiting teachers, and he offered on his own time a clinic to all of the jazz choir singers, the middle school jazz band, and the high school jazz band kids. And so he had in a room probably about 75 kids or so, and had the task of sort of teaching them how to learn tunes. And he was using our Jazz All-State tune this year of Summertime on how to do that. So I sort of thought, hey, I should make a quick recording of this just in case it would come out all right. So the audio is just my phone sitting on a desk as he's teaching all of these kids. So you'll hear them playing and him talking and him playing and all that. And I did start it a couple minutes into the clinic, so we're sort of missing the first part of that. But I know you're going to get a ton out of this if you're interested in how to teach jazz tunes to kids. So I want to give you a brief rundown of what he does, and then I'm going to put the audio on for you. So he sort of had this method of, as he's learning a tune, the first thing he always does is uses a recordings list. Right, so he just goes, go into YouTube, put in Summertime, and he takes like the first 7 or 8 that come up, and he just uses those recordings. Some of which are going to be classic standard recordings, some of which are going to be newer altered recordings, and he uses those to compare. And when I think when the recording starts, he's right in the middle of near the end of doing that, and he's got a couple left. And they talk about how are they different, how are they the same, and just learning those recordings by ear and listening really gives you a chance to learn a lot about the history of the tune. Number 2 is always, he always says, learn the lyrics, right? The message of the tune is in the lyrics. So if you're not thinking about the lyrics when you're playing, you're not going to have know the intent of the message of the tune. The third part he mentions is focusing on important parts of the melody and using scale numbers. If there's a bridge, finding what the bridge is, and basically learning the important parts of the melody by ear as he's doing it. And I mentioned by ear, that's really not the Aebersold method, right? It's more about using your ear and finding the key of the tune and learning it that way. Let's see. Number 4, then he talks about sing everything and play the phrases in all these different ways. So make sure you sing it, make sure you play it. Don't worry about rhythm too much. Rhythm can come later. And that's one of the things that the Aebersold does, right? It's all these tunes are written out, and everybody thinks they need to play the rhythm that's on the page, and that's just not the case. You don't need to do that. And then the last chunk, it's a pretty good big chunk here, he works on improvisation and uses scale numbers and how to sort of manage the chord changes without worrying too much about getting too much into the weeds. Now, this is a master teacher that you're watching, and he would not say that, and he would blush if he heard that. But, he's teaching everywhere from, the best trombone player in the state all the way down to a kid who's a 6th grade rhythm section player, all the way to a jazz vocalist who maybe reads music that maybe doesn't, to another jazz vocalist who has a lot of confidence and a lot of skills. Right, so he's got a huge variety, and like I said, I think it was over 75 kids in this room holding their horns. So you're going to notice these moments where he has them all play something together, and you get to hear it, and we all know what that sounds like. But he was able to sort of do this with all of these kids and bring them all together and teach it to all of them. So I hope you get a ton out of this. I was really blown away by his clinic, and I said, it's just such a shame if other people don't get a chance to hear this as well. So thanks for supporting the show, and let's check out Mike Sakash and his improv clinic on Summertime.
Who knows who that singer is? Anybody? Billie Holiday. So did you notice how different the interpretation was? Yeah? What else is different about this recording? Yep.
Sound quality?
Sound quality, right? Definitely it was recorded in a different era. What else? No string section, so a different ensemble. What else?
Different style?
Different style, right? In a different key.
Yeah.
All right, so now I'm talking mainly to instrumentalists, because vocalists, you're going to need to find a key that really suits your voice. Instrumentalists, there's nothing better than learning a tune and playing it in whatever key it comes out in. So I put my YouTube list up. I start on the first one, and then when Billie Holiday comes up, I play it in her key, right? If Chet Baker comes up and he's singing, I play it in Chet's key. Okay? At first, it's really hard to do, but you're going to get really good at it after you do it a bit. So here's the next recording that came up. How many have heard this before? Who's that? Miles. Now, we're not here to listen to these recordings in their entirety. I'm just giving this as an example. Miles. How he phrased that second phrase there, that's part of this tune's history. It's part of its lineage, right? And when you open a real book, that's not in there. You're going to see a set of notes that is a capturing of one recording of that tune. If you're going to play a tune, you should know about Ella and Billy and Miles. Here's the next recording that came up. Uh-oh. Oh, golly. Who's that? Who is that? Yeah, it's Paul Desmond. He's my guy. I love Paul Desmond, right? What was a little different about that recording? Yeah?
In 5/8 times.
Is it? Yeah, 5/8, 5/4, right? Here's the next recording. Don't worry, we're not going to do this the whole time. Check this out. Oh, yeah, right. What? Right? This was number 5 or 6 in the list, right? Who's that? Does anybody know? Yeah. Oh, good guess. Good guess. Sounds a lot like Joe Henderson at times. That's Joshua Redman.
Oh.
All right. One more. This was number 7 in my list. Here it is. Who's that? John Coltrane. So in that,
With the wrong
those
note.
6 or 7 recordings that came up, you have the potential to learn a whole lot about the song, right? Not only learn about its history, but then with those more modern recordings, some really creative ways to approach the song, and that's all part of the tune, okay? So you do that, and you begin to learn the song, and then eventually you have to start to break down that melody a little bit. We're not going to do this in great detail today because I want to work on improvisation, but let me tell you some advice that I have for you that may come in handy or it may not. When I'm learning jazz tunes, I pick a key, and I get my bearings on all the important parts of the tune, okay? So The tune Summertime starts on the 5th note of the key. So if I'm playing Summertime in the key of D minor, I'm going to start on the note A. That is a way just to get me into the tune. Once, and this is just for me, it may not be the same for you, once I know what key I'm in and I'm into the tune, it's very easy or easier for me to navigate through the rest of the tune. The midsection of a lot of tunes is called the bridge. Summertime doesn't really have a bridge necessarily. That's another important part in the tune. And I want to know, where do I go on the bridge? And if I know those things, then I can start to work the melody by ear and just knowing a few things, right? So if I'm in the key of, I don't know, in the key of D minor, which it is for the all-state thing, for alto players, you don't need to know this right now, but that's D minor. If I start on 5, that's enough to get me going on the tune, all right? One other piece of advice about learning tunes. So think about what we've talked about so far. Use recordings first, learn the lyrics. You don't know this, but I'm playing. I'm really thinking, summertime and the living's easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Your daddy's rich and your mom's good looking. So hush, pretty baby, don't you cry. Yeah, I know, you're all chuckling. You're like, man, I hope you never sing in public. I agree with you on that, but I sing everything, so if you can sing it, you can play it, right? So once I kind of know my bearings on the tune, I'm not worried about rhythm yet. I go phrase by phrase, and I work each phrase. How can I play with these phrases? There's a million ways you could play the first phrase. I could play. I could play. And I'm deciding what notes do I want to emphasize. Do I want to play summertime? Do I want to play summertime? Do I want to play summertime? Right? I'm working that stuff out. Phrase by phrase, no melody. Next step, and this is kind of techie, but I like it. Who's heard of the app Drum Genius? Yeah. All right. If you remember anything today, remember this, Drum Genius. It's an app. It has looped segments of the best drummers on the planet. And I'm like, yeah, I want to play this medium swing. So I click medium swing, and I find this is Art Blakey, from playing on Along Came Betty. Let's hear this. This is Art Blakey, right? No bass, no Abercrombie play along, and I'm just going to play time with this. 1, 2. But it's kind of cool, right? And I can speed it up, I can slow it down. I can play with Philly Joe Jones. I can play with Adam Nussbaum, right? It's all in there. So I add time. Making sense so far? Yeah. And it's fun. I get home from work and I put my little AirPods on and I'm like, I want to learn a tune. And I walk around my house and my kids hate it. I'm walking around and that's all you need and you can learn tunes, okay? So that makes sense so far? Any questions so far? Cool. So let's talk about improvising. We're going to talk about improvising on summertime because that's our mode of operation right now. You can learn, and this is my thing, there's great books out there on improvisation. You can learn a whole lot by learning tunes, right? So the first thing that we're going to do is we're all going to play scale. Okay, we love scale, don't we? I'm going to give you know your concert F scale. You know it? All right? If you know your concert F scale, we're going to play it together right now. For vocalists, we're going to just sing it on do, all right? The syllable do, all right? Here's a concert F. Just mezzo piano sitting your chops, everybody. Here we go. Yeah. up piano, keep it real soft. We're just going to get our bearings in the key of F. Here we go. Ready? Just quarter notes, up and down. 1, 2, ready, go. So now, as you're playing those notes and as you're singing, I want you to stop on the 6th note. Right? So keep track, stop on the 6th note. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. Can you all sing that note on the syllable la? Here we go. Alright, so keep the same notes you just played, but now start on that note that you just stopped on. Does that make sense? So we're playing the same scale, just starting on the note that we just ended on. Cool? A lot of you know what you're doing. Some of you, this might be new to you. Here we go. Start on the note we left off on. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 6th note of the scale, right? So if you're playing alto saxophone, you're starting on a B. Cool? If you are playing a tenor saxophone, you are starting on what note? You're starting on an E. Do we have any other transpositions here? Okay. Let's try that again. Everybody find that note. This is your concert D. Play that right now. From that note up the scale, keeping all the notes that we played in the F scale. Does that make sense? Yes?
Trumpet players go down an octave on your E.
Good idea. Let's, in fact, yeah.
Trombones down on D.
Comfy range. Here we go. Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right now, and softly just work that scale that we just played. Go ahead, on your own, on your own. Alright, so we're going to give those notes a number. The D is 1. Everybody play 1. Concert D, so that's your B for trumpet. Okay. Once again, here we go. Play the 2nd note of that scale. I'm going to call that 2. That's a concert E for trumpets. That's an F sharp, right? And tenors too. Altos, that's a C sharp. Play me 1. Let me hear 1. Think about it first. We're going to play 3 now. Think about what that note is. Think about what it sounds like. Here we go. Here we are. This one, it's 5. Can you guys find 5 on your own? So we have this right now. Check it out. We've got, right? You might recognize it as the first 4 notes of a tune from La La Land. I love this set of notes, right? It's kind of like a chord, and it's kind of like a scale, and it's really easy to adapt to improvise. 1, 2, 3, 5. If you listen to, we were talking about this earlier with Mr. Saunders, if you listen to John Coltrane's solo on Giant Steps, he plays that pattern all over the place, right? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to have fun. You guys want to play? Yeah. Do we have a bass player in the house? Yeah. Yes. Oh, very good. Yeah, you can plug right in. So we're softly going to improvise on those notes, 1, 2, 3, and 5, and only those notes. And I'll say why in a second. If sound. Can you find your feet? Just gonna play quarter notes on our team. Okay. Yes, question. Any guys question? Play, so we're all about preserving our chops. So play in the most comfortable octave you can find. All right? So we're all going to improvise really softly on 1, 2, 3, 5. Our goal is to make a melody. That's all we're doing. Okay? Nathan, we'll play swing. It's a nice D minor 7 chord. Okay? Here we go. Let's do it. What is your name? Anka? All right, awesome. So just nice chord notes. Listen to your brother Nathan. Play nice chord notes. Here we go. Improvising. Only use 1, 2, 3, 5. Everybody's going to do it at once. This is going to sound nutty, right? Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, you. Let's make it, as I say, man, we're going to make it wicked soft. Can you guys play wicked soft? Yeah. The singers will not hear themselves if us horn players are whacking away. Here we go. Keep it soft. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Introduction to improvising on a harmony. This particular harmony works on the scale, this particular chord. I don't want to get too technical today. I want to play a lot and talk less, but does anybody know the scale that we play? There is a name for it. What kind of a minor scale? Does anybody know? Yeah?
Harmonic minor.
It's
Wait,
actually
no, it's not
harmonic.
I'm sorry, I just had a massive brain
It's
fart.
okay.
It's a natural minor.
It is a natural minor scale.
It's not a Dorian. It's not a.
It's not a Dorian,
Not
right?
a Dorian. It's not a.
So
Harmonic minor.
some of you might not understand this part of the conversation, and this will come to you in time. There's kind of a thing in jazz. Everybody plays Dorian, right? Dorian is like the minor scale. I really like the natural minor, and on minor tunes, it works really well on the 1 chord. That's why we're doing the minor scale, the natural minor scale right now. Okay, so we know a scale, we know a pattern that works really well. There's a reason why we're doing a pattern. And try and hang on to this. Is a concept that I hope that you can hang on to because I feel this is important. We are now practicing improvisation. That's weird. Think about that. How can you practice improvising? Isn't that very strange? When we practice improvisation, we're trying to build fluidity, be able to do stuff, right? In my opinion, the best way to build fluidity is to limit yourself in some way. It could be anything. So right now, we're limiting the amount of notes that you get to play with. And that causes you to be more creative, right? You only have 4 notes that you can play. If you have 7 notes, that's a lot to hang on to. 4 notes, I can deal with that. And I can be really creative. All right? Are you guys doing okay so far? Is this making sense? Can I give you another little piece of the pie? Yeah? All right, so in the 5th bar of Summertime, we go to the 4 chord. And, well, I'll explain something about that in a second. All right. Anya? Anka, I'm sorry. So you're going to go from a D to a G. Can you find a G on the bass? Yeah, right on. So it's going to be 4 bars of D, and then we're going to stop on G. Let's hear the rhythm section do that. You guys are going to count bars. We're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. Can you do that? Yes, Mr. Sakash, we can do that. Here we go. So you guys got your start? 1, 2, 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Right. So on the 5th bar in the tune Summertime, we go from the 1 chord to what we're going to call the 4 chord. We can figure out why are we calling it the 4 chord. Yes?
fourth scale degree?
It's on the fourth note of the scale that we just established, right? Have you guys heard this before? Holy sugar, yes. All right, let's talk about tunes that go from 1 to 4. Mr. PC, 4 bars on a 1 minor chord, then we go to 4. Mercy, mercy, mercy. 1, 1, 1, 4, 4, 4, 1, 1, 4, 4. Centerpiece, B flat blues, 1 to 4. All right, jazz, high school jazz people. Paquito's Revenge. It starts on C minor and then it goes where? F minor. Sister Sadie. It's on F for ever, and then where do we go? To B flat. That's the 4. You guys are playing Saints Go Marching In.
Yep.
Oh, when the Saints go marching in. Oh, when the Saints go marching to the
5 chord.
Darn it. Oh, wait, bring it there. I want to be in that number 4 chord.
Also Fat Cat. That 25 goes to the 4 chord.
It's everywhere. Here's the thing, like step back and look at the big picture about learning tunes. I would like you to be able to, maybe you can already, when you're listening to a jazz tune, be like, okay, I know where we are, we're 1, oh, we went to the 4. That's huge. It happens everywhere. It happens everywhere. So we're learning to go to the 4 chord right now, all right? So now, we're going to play this. Can you guys play with me, rhythm section? Same thing you just did. Check out what I play, and you're going to copy it. 2, 1, 2, 3, Cool. One more time. So I'm stopping on the 4th note of the scale that I just gave you. As I'm playing this, be thinking ahead and think to yourself, what is the 4th note of this scale? Don't play, just think. Here we go. We'll do the same thing again. 2, 1, 2, 3. How many think you could do that yourselves? Yeah? Let's do this. Can you all find the 4th note of the scale? I'll tell you what it is. It happens to be concert G. So that's our goal. That's our goal. We want to know when that happens, right? We want to figure out when that happens and just nail it. Singers are trying to pre-hear. Right, we got it?
Mr. Sakash, if
Yeah.
the singers want, if they know solfege, la ti do mi, la ti do mi, la ti do mi, la ti do mi, re.
Yeah.
I think of solfege.
And you know what? I was gonna do solfege, but then we get into the do re mi or la ti do. It's the whole thing. But
Law
yeah,
verse minor.
solfege would be great. That'd be awesome. Here we go. Let's do it, everybody. Keep it like pianissimo, wicked soft. Here we go. 1, 2, Right. So when it comes down to it, and you are in the heat of improvisation, do you think you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4? Are you doing that? No. Probably not, but maybe so. If you learn that motion, you're going to know when it happens. Your body is going to know, and your ear is going to know. Let's do that again. Uno más, here we go. Same thing you just did. Keep it soft. 1, 2, and 1, and 2, and here we go. Alright, so now I'm going to give you guys a little challenge assignment. I want you to find the pattern that we played on the 1 chord on the 4 chord. And I'll give you some help. There are no new notes. All the notes in this pattern are within the scale that we already played. You follow me? So you're going to do it wicked soft. I'm going to be playing it up there. You can listen. And I want you to see if you can find that same 1, 2, 3, 5 pattern, but starting on the 4. All right, go ahead and do it right now. Go ahead and practice. How many think you have All right, how many are still working it out? Okay. 15 more seconds. Go ahead. Keep it soft. Keep it soft. Go ahead. So here's what you're going to do next. You guys ready? You're like the Jamie Aebersold. Does everybody know who Jamie Aebersold is? Yeah, right? We don't need that anymore. Yeah, here we go. So just me. Just listen. See what I'm doing. 2, 1, 2, 3. If you're not sure, when you get to the 4 chord, just play the note that we started on. Play the concert G and just hang out there. That's totally fine. Here we go. Let's do it together. Keep it soft. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So we're starting on the 1. So we're starting on home base where we originally set out. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, here we go. Did you survive? Everybody survive? Yeah? Okay, you survived, that's good. One more time? Yeah, one more time. Keep it soft. 1. If you feel like your chops are hurting, sing it. Dee, da, 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 da. Here we go. 1, 2, 1 and 2, and here we go. Okay, so now the fun begins. So now you can play whatever you want when the 1 chord is happening, and you can play whatever you want when the 4 chord is happening, but it has to be in that cell of notes that we just learned. So here's my advice to you. How many have never done this before? Raise your hand. Probably a lot of you, right? Your solo should sound kind of like this. So here's solo A, example A. Hey, you guys are being, thank you. Here we go. I know. These guys are set up to play, but this is too much fun. Here we go. So here's what your solo might sound like. Observe this solo and tell me what you can note about the solo. Here we go. 2, 1, 2, 3. What can you observe about that solo? Yes?
Very simple.
Wicked simple. Keep it simple. I try not to play anything that I can't figure out in my head, I can't hear, right? Keep it simple. Everybody, here we go. This is going to be cacophonous and beautiful at the same time. Here we go. Keep it soft and keep it wicked simple. 1, 2, and 1, and 2, and here we go. Yeah? All right. Uno más. Here we go. Let's do it one more time. Right? 1, 2, 1, 2, and here we go. I get so excited when I hear a younger student like actually playing chord changes. That sounds sarcastic, but it's not. It's like, yeah, you're playing chord changes. All right. Is anybody so bold, and you don't have to do this, but anybody like to do that on their own with the rhythm section? Yeah. Okay. All right, so now let me tell you something. So the hardest, this is going to be the hardest for students that already know how to improvise fairly well, and I'm talking to you, Isaiah, because you've got all this stuff. You're like, no. So keep it simple, okay? Isaiah. Yeah. Stand up. All right, so let's, everybody, put your attention to Isaiah. Here we go. And you don't all have to stand up in front of the whole group like this. Here we go. 2, 1, 2, and here we go. Yeah, cool. And I know you guys are dying to play this. Give it up for us, man. Let's hear somebody else. Somebody else. Be bold. All right. So Ryan, here's, I'm going to do this just to save time. Go ahead.
What?
Just stand up.
Okay.
Just because.
Okay.
Okay, Ryan, and 2, and 1, and 2, and here we go. Yeah.
I think that's right.
So, if you already improvised, it's really hard to limit yourself to the game. Yeah. I would love to hear a vocalist. And it's hard, yeah, because you have to limit yourself to your notes. So you guys have to listen like crazy because Taylor's way over here. So here's Taylor.
Hey, Taylor.
What's that? Yeah, come on over. I know I should have done something. Okay, here we go. Here we go. 2, and 1, and 2, and here we go. Okay, go. Give it up for Taylor. Here's the hard thing. Taylor's saying some beautiful notes. He's saying the 9, which is awesome. The 9 from the tonic. It's hard to limit yourself to. You want to sing Kuayo? So we want to see if you can stick to those 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, and here we go. Cool. All right. Yeah. Here's why it's hard vocally. When we make that chord change, then you've got to shift that hearing to that whole new thing. And I find that if I would never scat in public, I wish I could. But what I would do is really get in my ear that shift from one chord to the next. All right, thank you, Taylor. Awesome. Okay, one more. Great. Yeah. All right. What is your name?
Rowan.
Well, you guys want to come right up. So, okay, come up, Rowan. I'm sorry, Ryan, I didn't let you come up. All right, Rowan, your name is? All right, let's hear Rowan. 2, 1, 2, and here we go. You're like, okay, I get this. The next step is to be really intentional about the order of notes that you play this in. I did not get this idea myself. How many have heard of a saxophone player named Jerry Bergonzi? He's got a great series of books. I just said I don't usually use a lot of books. This is a really good one. There's one called Melodic Rhythms. There's a pentatonics book. And he has students go through all the permutations of 1, 2, 3, 5, right? He also happens to use a different order on minor scales, but I'm not going to go through that right now. So, what we're going to do is we're going to try that right now. This is going to be a stretch. For some of us this will be really easy. So, right now, if you're really comfortable on this, how many feel like they have this pretty well, like they've got this? So the next step is not to always start on 1. So let's come up with a random ordering of these numbers that's not 1. So we have 1, 2, 3, 5, right? Can someone come up with a different order of numbers? Yeah? 5, 2, 3, 1. Can you guys figure that out? What would be, yeah, thank you. 5, 2, 3, 1. Very good. You guys got it? Yeah? If you don't, play 1, 2, 3, 5, that's okay. But we're going to try and play 5, 2, 3, 1 while you guys just band off in D minor. Here we go. I want you to play with 5, 2, 3, 1 in any rhythm you want. It could be. Whatever you want. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, can you guys do that on the 4 chord, right? So now we're starting to get a concert on the G chord, okay? Go ahead and see if you can figure it out. Starting note, it helps me. That starting note is a concert D. That's a B on alto saxophone. That's an E on trumpets and tenors. Right? So if you know that starting note, it's going to help you. Go ahead and try it right now from the 4 chord if you didn't get it the first time. On the 1 chord on 5, 2, 3, 1. And then when we go to the 4, I know it's a lot of numbers. When we go to the G minor chord, the 4 chord, we're going to mess around on 5, 2, 3, 1 on that chord. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, so on the 1 chord, we have. Pretty obvious, right? Let's try that. Let's try that. If you don't get it the first time, it's okay, but we'll give it a go. Okay? Here we go. We do it together. Silencio, por favor. Let's start together. How's that? 1, 2, here we go. Let's try that again. Here we go. Some of you made it. I can hear the shift. Some are like flat, right? Remember, you don't have to play all the notes in every bar. You can play something really spacious and lyrical. Here we go. Once again. 1, 2, 2, 3, Who feels like they've got that? They've got it. All right? Who feels like they can demonstrate that for us? Yeah. What is your name?
Corbin.
Corbin, let's go for it. Here we go.
Yes, Corbin.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, Corbin. That was awesome. When the chord changes, you don't always have to play the roots. And that's a great thing and a great way to start, but this forces you to do other things. Someone else. Bold. All right, you got it? Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2. Catherine, you got it, Catherine.
Yes.
Yes.
2, a 1, 2, 3. Anybody? Shout it out. Yeah.
3, 2, 5, 1.
3, 2, 5, 1. Everybody see if you can figure that out. 3, 2, 5, 1. 3, 2, 5, 1. It does tend to jump around a lot. It's easier played than sung, for sure. So go ahead and just try that again. What was it? 3, 2, 3, 2, 5, 1. Here we go.
Wait, what?
Really softly. We're going to improvise just on the first chord using that order of notes. All right? 3, 2, 5, 1. Here we go. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to go to the 4 chord and see if we can figure out that same 3, 2, 5, 1 pattern. 3, 2, 5, 1 pattern. Right? Softly improvising, try and use that pattern that we just did. The most important moment is the moment we go from the 1 chord to the 4 chord, to see if you can change from one harmony to the next harmony. Here we go, let's try it. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. So what's really neat about this is, I think, like even me as I'm doing this, I've played phrases that I probably wouldn't normally play. Oh, it wouldn't normally come out. So when I go through this process, sometimes I find paths through the harmony that I've never found before, and that's a good thing. All right, would anybody like to try this out in a solo situation?
What I was blown away at as I listened to that again is just his ability to teach to all levels, his ability to let the kids explore and have a little bit of rein, let the leash out a little bit, but then I was able to bring them right back in. Now, these are honors kids, but again, it was their first one back from pandemic, so a lot of these kids, most of them, this was their first honors festival. I also liked how he was able to keep everybody's self-esteem up, and being positive through all of it. And his pacing was really good. He stayed on things enough in order to, really help it develop and give kids multiple opportunities, but then also knew when he was reading, he was reading the room and knew when it was kind of time to move on. So we also didn't get the very end. I clipped it there because at that point it sort of went off, and I thought the most of the teaching that we could learn from Mike Sakash was in that section. So hopefully you were able to hear some of the corrections he made and some of the advice that he gave. And if you take 1 or 2 of those phrases and use them, or 1 or 2 of those ideas and use them in your teaching, you will be a better teacher for it. So I hope you enjoyed it. We sincerely appreciate you taking your valuable time and listening to the Growing Band Director podcast. Your students are very lucky to have a band director like you. If you have any suggestions for episode topics or think you have an area of expertise to share on a show with us, please reach out. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to help spread the word, please give us a 5-star review and tell your band director friends to subscribe as well. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our YouTube channel, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening to The Growing Band Director. See you next week.